He was not a king, not a man of wealth or luxury, yet the world trembled at his name. He wore no crown, sat on no golden throne, and carried no army standard before him. But his justice shook empires, and his humility humbled rulers. He was Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, the second Caliph of Islam, known to history as Al-Farooq, the one who distinguished truth from falsehood. In an age where monarchs ruled with iron fists and palaces glittered with excess, Umar ruled from a simple mud brick house in Medina. His power came not from gold, but from the fear of Allah. His story is not the tale of a conqueror, but of a man who conquered himself and in doing so, changed the course of human civilization. The era of Umar's rule began at a time when Islam stood on the threshold of greatness. Under Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the Muslims had survived the storms of rebellion. Now, under Umar, they rose to build a world guided by divine justice. From the valleys of Arabia to the banks of the Nile, from the mountains of Persia to the gates of Jerusalem, the banner of Islam fluttered in lands once ruled by emperors and kings. Yet Umar never saw these conquests as his achievement. Whenever news of victory reached Medina, he would fall into prostration, weeping, saying, "O Allah, do not destroy us through pride." He walked the streets of Medina at night, alone, disguised, seeking to know the truth of his people's condition. While other rulers slept behind guarded walls, Umar wandered with a sack of flour on his back, delivering food to the hungry. One night, as the story goes, he heard the cry of children from a tent. Approaching quietly, he saw a woman trying to calm them while a pot boiled over an empty fire. "What are you cooking?" he asked. "Water," she replied bitterly. "To keep them quiet. Their caliph has forgotten us." Umar's heart broke. He rushed back to the treasury, carried a sack of flour himself, and refused to let his servant help. "Will you carry my burden on the day of judgment?" he said. When the children ate and laughed again, the woman prayed, "May Allah reward Umar, for he deserves to be caliph." She did not know that the man kneeling beside her was Umar himself. This was the man who ruled the greatest empire of his time, yet he lived as the poorest among them. His clothes were patched, his sandals worn, his house bare of luxury. Foreign envoys often mistook him for a common man. Once, an ambassador from Persia arrived in Medina, expecting to see a palace. Instead, he found Umar sleeping under a palm tree with no guards, no servants, no throne. "Where is your ruler?" the envoy asked. A local replied, "There he is, the man sleeping in the dust." The envoy stood speechless, whispering, "You have ruled with justice, so you sleep in peace. We have ruled with tyranny, so we sleep in fear." Umar's justice was legendary. He established the first formal judicial system in Islam, appointing judges across the provinces to ensure fairness. He forbade governors from building lavish homes or accepting gifts, warning them, "You are shepherds, not kings. Beware of luxury, for it weakens the heart." When a complaint reached him that one of his commanders had struck a man unjustly, Umar summoned both and ordered the victim to strike the commander in return. "When did you enslave the people?" Umar thundered. "When their mothers bore them free?" His sense of equality was unmatched. The son of a poor Arab could stand before him and speak as freely as the son of a nobleman. Even the non-Muslims under his rule were protected. He declared, "The protection of their blood is like ours. If we betray it, we betray Allah." But Umar was not only a ruler, he was a reformer, a visionary who built the foundations of governance that still inspire nations. He introduced the Islamic calendar, beginning from the Hijra, the migration of the Prophet, peace be upon him. He established Bayt al-Mal, the public treasury, not for personal wealth but for the welfare of the people. Roads were built, canals dug, trade routes protected. He created a system for stipends, ensuring that every citizen from the veteran of battle to the orphan child received their due. He even organized the first census and postal system in the Muslim world. Every decision, every policy began with one question: how will this affect the people on the day of judgment? His humility extended to his leadership in war. When armies marched to distant lands, Umar walked them to the city's edge, bidding farewell with tears. He warned his generals, "Fear Allah wherever you go." Remember, the victory of Islam does not come from swords or horses, but from obedience to Allah. After the conquests of Persia and Egypt, when the treasures of the world were brought to Medina, Umar looked upon the gold and jewels and wept. "If only these had not reached us," he murmured. for I fear they will corrupt us as they corrupted those before us. He ordered that the wealth be distributed fairly among the people, reminding everyone that it was a trust, not a prize. His reign was also marked by compassion during times of trial. When famine struck Arabia in the year of Ramada, Umar refused to eat meat or butter until the people could. His face grew pale, his body thin, but his resolve never broke. He said, "How can I eat my fill when my people go hungry?" He prayed for rain, led relief efforts, and personally managed aid distribution. When the crisis ended, he thanked Allah with tears streaming down his face, saying, "Praise be to the one who tested me and did not break me." Even the mightiest feared his sense of accountability. When he appointed governors, he required them to declare their wealth before and after office. If their wealth had increased unjustly, he took it back to the treasury. Once, a messenger brought news that the commander of Egypt, Umar ibn al-As, had built himself a fine house. Umar wrote him a single line: "Destroy it." The people of Egypt need a leader, not a king. Such was the strength of his character, firm in justice, yet tender in mercy. As the years passed, the vastness of the Muslim world grew from the Indus to the Mediterranean. But Umar's life remained as simple as ever. He often said, "If a mule were to stumble on the road of Iraq, I fear Allah would ask me why I did not level the path for it." His nights were spent in prayer, his days in service. And then came the day when his greatest test arrived. During the dawn prayer in the mosque of Medina, a Persian slave, harboring resentment, attacked him with a poisoned dagger. The Caliph fell, blood flowing from his wounds. Yet even then, his concern was not for himself. As he lay dying, he asked, "Have I fulfilled the trust of my people? Have I been just?" His companions wept and said, "By Allah, you have done more than justice." In his final moments, Umar asked to be buried beside his two beloved companions, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. When permission was granted by Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, he smiled weakly and said, "Nothing in this world matters to me now." As his soul departed, Medina wept. The desert wind carried the sound of grief, and even the heavens seemed still. Umar ibn al-Khattab left behind no palace, no treasure, no monument, only a legacy of faith, justice, and humility that still echoes through time. Under his rule, Islam became not just a religion, but a civilization built on equality and moral strength. Historians, Muslim and non-Muslim alike, agree that his governance was among the most just in human history. Thomas Carlyle once wrote, "He was one of those who could command, for they could obey the truth." And so, the man who had once struck fear into the enemies of Islam struck awe into the hearts of generations. His life reminds us that true leadership is not power over people, but responsibility before Allah. He ruled half the world yet feared one day of judgment more than all the armies combined. Umar ibn al-Khattab, the Caliph, who slept under a tree, ruled from a mat, and whose name became a synonym for justice itself. And thus ended an era of light, but his legacy lives on, guiding every heart that seeks truth, every leader who seeks justice, and every believer who remembers that greatness begins with humility. If the story of Umar al-Farooq has moved you, please give this video a like and share it so others can learn from his incredible life. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for our next episode, where we explore the life of Uthman ibn Affan, the Caliph of generosity. Thank you for watching.